In React, we are going to learn how to handle Ajax requests. So, what is API? How the API works? A basic overview I given to you. And APIs we usually learn in backend technologies. Here I given a simple overview on API. Today we will learn about how we can handle Ajax calls in React. As I already explained, usually in JavaScript you already learned two techniques of Ajax. I will give one more overview of that. If you missed those concepts in JavaScript, then at least you have a good idea on them. So today we will see how to handle the Ajax methods. So JavaScript Ajax techniques which you can use in React.js. Today we are going to learn first these detailing. We will implement these in React. Actually, what is the concept of Ajax? Why you need Ajax? If you already learned about Ajax, what is the concept of Ajax and why we need Ajax? Actual point is Ajax is asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. In short, we usually call it as what? Ajax. What is the concept of Ajax is? Why you need this Ajax? What is the concept of Ajax is? Actually, Ajax enables partial postback. This is one important concept. Partial postback. It enables partial postback. That is one key point about Ajax actually. Partial postback means without reloading the complete page, it can load new contents into page. Generally, whenever some new content comes into your page, when you refresh the page, then that new content will be visible. You are already watching a page and some new information have to appear in this page, then usually you have to refresh the page. Suppose you see you are using some messages, chatting. In a messenger, you are watching some messages and somebody sends you a message. Without refreshing the message box, the new message pops up. That means without reloading everything, only specific portion will come. Actually, lot of technique is used in the background. To automatically push the updates, we use a mechanism called WebSocket. You know, when you are watching emails or messages on WhatsApp everywhere, or you subscribe to some channels on YouTube and all, whenever a new video is uploaded, automatically an alert comes to you. That alert says that a new video uploaded to this location. That is with a concept called WebSocket. Actually, that is done with WebSocket. WebSocket is used for that. We call WebSocket. What WebSockets will do is they will push the updates into your page. But without refreshing the page, the new details must appear in the page. That is possible by using what? Ajax. Ajax allows to add new details without reloading the complete page. So usually it allows to add new content into page without reloading the page. That is the key point of Ajax. So what you can do, you can bring content from another remote location. You can add the content without refreshing the page. Already you know, suppose in real time you are watching some cricket, let's say some crick info. When I open this crick info, you can see at the top some scorecards are present. At the top some scorecards are present. And if any live match is going on, you can observe that this scorecard will be automatically updating. So ball by ball, so the scorecard is updating. But page is not refreshing. Without refreshing page, how you can update new details into page? That means it is using what? Ajax. By using Ajax, we can achieve that concept. And in browser, that Ajax is handled by using browser handles Ajax by using XML HTTP request object. It handles by using this XML HTTP request object. Any technology in the world, in the front end, whenever they are using Ajax, Ajax is maintained, handled by this object. That means you may be using Java, .NET, PHP, Python, Node, any technology in the backend. In the front end, you are using a browser. And in a browser, Ajax is managed by using only one object. And what is that object? XML HTTP object. By using this XML HTTP, you can configure Ajax calls. When you configure the Ajax calls, it will allow you to add new details into the page without refreshing the page. Let's see how it works. Directly, if you have to use this XML HTTP, if you directly have to use it, it's a lengthy process. For that, you have alternative also. Let's see the first how directly this XML HTTP works, how it is going to work, how it brings the data and displays the data. We will take one simple real example here. Let's say we have Flipkart. This is Flipkart. Let's go to some mobiles and some mobile. And you can see that some mobile related some information is displayed like this. Whatever data that you are currently watching on screen, it is not fixed. That means generally if I ask to design like this, usually you will not write heading, paragraph, unordered list directly because this data is not fixed. Every few days the price will be changing, the ratings will be changing, the offers will be changing. So this is not directly written. This is actually coming from a database. That means this information is coming from a data source. How to bring this kind of data from database you will see later, because you have to learn database, server side and all. Temporarily we will keep this data in a JSON file, and through that we will access, because API communication happens in two ways. What are those? One is JSON, another one is XML. Actually, I explained yesterday few distributed technologies. Remember the distributed technologies? So what are distributed computing technologies we have? Corba, remember those? TCOM, EJB, Enterprise Java Beans, RMI, Remote Method Invocation. Which one is known to everyone? Web services is known to everyone. So web services have some issues. To overcome those issues, we have new, that is what we call as web APIs, right? Actually, how this communication handles is, that means generally communication specification in service, it happens in three ways. One is SOAP, another one is REST, another is JSON. Three ways communication happens. The communication between two applications running on two different machines, or as I already explained yesterday, communication between two applications running on same machine, how they communicate by using SOAP, REST and JSON. Actually, what is SOAP is, it is service oriented architecture protocol. Service oriented architecture protocol, in this what happens is, service consumer sends an XML request, and that means we want some data client side. So how the request will go from client? The request consumer means where we are showing the data. Provider means who is having the data. API will have the data, it will send the data to the client. That means server application will send data to which application? Client. But client application have to request for that data. How the request happens is, so consumer will send an XML request. For example, I want all the products whose category is electronics. Then XML request will be like this. Products, in that product category is electronics. That is how the request happens. This is how XML looks like. XML request will be like this. That means what they are requesting in the products, they are requesting all the products whose category is matching with what? Electronics. Now, service provider sends an XML response. The consumer will send a request in XML form. The provider will send in an XML form. That means the communication in SOAP, the request will be XML, response also will be XML. So that means how the response comes? Products. In the products we have what? Product. In that one product ID, that is one. So another one is the product name. Product name is mobile. So this is name. And which category it belongs to? It belongs to what? Electronics. Because client is requesting electronics, it will get electronics. Like that, this is one product. Suppose another product is matching with electronics, then it will send all those products that is matching with electronics. This is how the response will come. So in SOAP, the request and response will be in the format of what? XML. Consumer will send an XML request, and Provider will send an XML response. Actually, web services use this mechanism. Web services communicate with each other by using which communication specification? They use what? SOAP. SOAP is what? Service Oriented Architecture Protocol. In SOAP, consumer and the provider communication between two apps will be in purely XML form. These days, we are not using this very much. We are not using SOAP. We are not using SOAP very much because already yesterday I explained some issues like it runs only on web server. It works only on web. Technically, SOAP uses this kind of communication. Now, in the modern, instead of SOAP, we are using REST. We are using REST. REST is actually representational state transfer. Representational state transfer. REST is representational state transfer. In REST, service consumer sends a simple query request. In REST, consumer will send a query request, not in XML. Query request means this consumer request will be like this. https://server.com/products. So in that question mark category is equal to what it is? Electronics. Like this request will be. Request will not be in XML form. Request will be in a simple query string. You learned query string in JavaScript, right? Query string, local storage, session storage. Query string, the request is sent in the form of query string. A simple query string request will be there. That means in REST, the request will be in simple query and the service provider sends response in XML or JSON format. In XML or JSON format. Request will be a simple query. Response will be in a JSON form or response will be in a XML form. XML response already we know. JSON response looks like this. We have an array of object. In that what we have? Product ID. We have name and we have category. This category belongs to what? Electronics. This is one product. Like that, it will send all electronic products. The response will be in this format, the JSON. So what is difference between SOAP and REST? In SOAP, consumer and provider, two applications communicate with each other using XML. But in REST, the request will be a simple query and response will be in the format of XML and JSON. These days, everybody use this mechanism. Actually, this people call it as RESTful services. We call them RESTful services. In almost every interview, they ask you, you have knowledge of RESTful services. A developer is not a developer who don't have knowledge on RESTful services in the modern generation. Any technology you may belong to, you must have knowledge of RESTful services because these days all applications are distributed. If all applications are distributed, the main communication happens in distributed applications using RESTful services. So you are not a software developer if you don't have knowledge of RESTful services in the modern generation. Any technology you may belong to. So earlier we used to use SOAP. Even today, several companies use that. That means if you are a Java developer, .NET developer, in many companies, your companies are still using web service. still they are using web service in several projects. So you should have experience in both SOAP as well as REST. So the primary communication is that, right? So next, another specification is there. What is another specification? JSON. JSON is JavaScript object notation. In JSON, what happens is service consumer sends an JSON request. Consumer sends an JSON request. That means usually request will be like this. We want what product with what category. Category is what? Electronics. The request will be in JSON form, and service provider sends an JSON response. So the request and response both will be in what? JSON. Already JSON response, we know it will send array of objects that match your condition. So the communication is in this format. But still people are not yet completely using this, which is advanced. That means in future you will see everywhere this. As of now, your companies are still working on RESTful only. RESTful means a simple query request and response will be in the format of JSON. But the future is JSON and JSON. That means we send request in a JSON form, response also will come in a JSON. We'll see how to handle the data. For example, I will show you. Suppose every day you are watching some weather report on your mobiles, watches everywhere. Actually, you see the weather data comes like this. This is one weather API. This is one weather API. In this weather API, I will go to API document. You can see that this is the weather API, and you see this is the query request API call. That means your request will be HTTPS API, and here latitude and longitude. You know, latitude, longitude will identify your current location. In JavaScript, you learned already how to capture latitude, longitude, right? So you will get the latitude, longitude through JavaScript. Browser will capture it, and it will send that latitude, longitude to this website. What this website will do, it will identify your current location, and your current location related weather report, it will send like this. That means this is the request, huh? And the response, it will show like this. The response will be like this. That means it will send the response like this in the format of what? JSON. A simple query is coming and the response is coming in the format of JSON. So it is using which type of communication? It is using REST. It is using REST. And see, this data is not understandable to general users. So what is our responsibility? Angular, JavaScript, or React, all these people's responsibility is to present data in a format so that everybody can easily understand. That means we will put some clouds and we will say raining. So we will put some sun symbol and we say that it is too hot, how much degrees it is. All these are designed, but data comes from here. Data comes in the format of JSON. These days, earlier, a few years back, it used to be XML everywhere. But now they are transforming from XML to JSON. Any data. For example, I will show you NASA API. This is NASA API. This is NASA official API website. Later we will see how do we present this data. We will see that. Actually, NASA people say that if you are an app developer, you have interest in building apps related to science, space, technology, then whatever videos, photos, data you need, we will freely provide. And you see, you can browse APIs. provide lot of data. And when you select any data, like I want like Mars rover, give URL. And when I select this URL, it will return the data in this format. The data is returned in this format. That means this is a simple query, and this query is going to return this data. That means this is also using which one? REST. Anywhere in the world, whatever data you see on websites, it is in the format of JSON. Right? Any website in the world, anywhere data is coming from your database, it will be in XML or JSON. Now, your front-end technologies have to teach you how to present this data. How do you present this data? Let's see how do we do that. First, we will put this data in our data source. See, what I am doing here is, I will copy this. Let's go into our project. We will create some data first. So let's go to public folder. In public folder, we will add a new file, and that is product.json. This is product.json. In this, we will maintain some data. I want as of now only one product related details. So see, the product related details, that means we need only one object. Okay. In that, see what Flipkart people are having. This is product title. I will put here a title. You know, JSON all keys are string type, mandatory. That must be string type. If there is any error in JSON file, it will not work with Ajax request. So all are string type keys. Value can be any type. Here title is this one. That is the title. We are having a title. Okay, comma, next. It is having some price. I will use this one, price. So title, only few details we will take. Price. Okay, what is the price? Is a number. So 69,999. That is the number, price. Okay, next comma. Next it is having, suppose rating, reviews, offers it is having. You see, I am having rating, ratings. In ratings is an object. In the ratings object, again, we have rate. The rate is 4.6. And in the ratings object, you have some ratings. You can give rating. Okay, rating is having rate and ratings. Ratings is how much? So some 5,329. Okay. It is having reviews. How many reviews are there? Suppose 225 reviews. This is one object. We have a title, the price, another one is rating. Okay, next, another detail is, it is having offers. And offers is a collection of offers. So what do you say? This is what data type? A list of offers. How you will store JavaScript? It is an array of string, because these are all string. It is an array of string. So what we will do? Copy. Okay. And I will use here offers. Offers is an array, and array of string type. So what we will do, let me copy this. Yeah. And here these I will enclose as string type. That means in quote, comma, this is the second offer, in quote, and comma, yeah, this is the third offer, in quote, this is offer, and a comma, right? And this is the fourth offer. Okay, these are the offers we are having. So our data is ready. In this data, we have a title, price, rating. Rating is again object. Rating contains rate, ratings, and reviews. Offers is an array of string. One more is there. We have an image. Let's do one thing. We will this image because directly these images are not savable. So I will capture this image. Okay, and let's save this image in our project location. It is in which drive? This is E drive. Our project is in which location? It is in D drive, demo React tab. So I will copy there. Demo React app, in that which location? Public. I will give some iPhone white. That is a JPG file. Okay. Actually, that is one, and you can have multiple. Suppose it is having a different color. Okay, so another color, I'll just capture another one. Okay, now this is the new, and I will copy this image also in the same location. And this is iPhone green. Okay, fine. Now we need to present this data. We need to present this data. Here we have one more key. What is it? Image. Image is using directly. You don't need to mention any path. In public folder, you keep all your images. You can directly access them. You just need a name. What is it? iPhone white dot what? JPG. That's enough. Now make sure that all your images and JSON is present in only public. It is not in any another location. It should be only in public, right? Now your data is ready. We need to present this in the UI. So we will go to our components. Let's add one new component. I will use a component called Flipkart Mobile. Okay, I am adding a new folder, Flipkart Mobile, and a new file, Flipkart mobile.what.jsx. Export function, so Flipkart Mobile, and it will return some markup. Later we will design this class container fluid. Okay. Now in this we need to display the data coming from our JSON file. We need to get the data and display, and this we will keep in the startup. So in index.js we have to remove data binding, and which one should be in the startup? Flipkart Mobile. You have to keep that in the startup. So our page will start with it, npm start. Okay, but that is empty. We don't have anything. We need to get the data and use it. For that, first let's see how this XML HTTP request works. How to use XML HTTP and fetch the data. What are the issues in this? In interviews, they usually ask. They will say that what are Ajax methods you are having? Usually JavaScript people say that we have two methods. We can use XML HTTP, we can use fetch. Then he will ask what is difference between them. What are the issues in XML HTTP? What is difference between XML HTTP and fetch? And In React, you will learn some more technique. Then he will ask, then what is difference between fetch and these React methods? So we need difference between these to understand. Let's see. First important is how to get the data. So we are going to see XML HTTP request. How to use XML HTTP request for Ajax. How we can use this for Ajax. So first important point is it is a browser window object member. It is a browser window object member. So XML HTTP is a browser window object member. That means actually in your JavaScript you learnt alert. Alert belongs to which object? It belongs to actually window.alert. You learnt about prompt. It actually belongs to window.prompt. You learnt like write belongs to which object? Document object. So this XML HTTP doesn't belong to document, it belongs to window. XML HTTP belong to window. It is an window object member. And what is the point is, it is the native Ajax method used by browser. It is the native Ajax method used by browser. That means in browser, Ajax communication happens by using an object called XML HTTP request. But what is point here is, it is synchronous, sync by default. It is synchronous by default. You have to explicitly make it asynchronous. That means XML HTTP request is synchronous by default. Synchronous means whenever it is executing your request, it will block all other requests. Once your request is completed, then only it will perform any another. Asynchronous means if you make a request and it is taking time, it will not wait for that to finish. It will keep in the background, it will do other work. Synchronous means until your task is finished, the next task is not performed. Asynchronous means if your task is taking time, it will put in the background, it will let it happen, and in the foreground it will do other tasks. This mechanism is called as what? Async. And XML HTTP is not asynchronous internally. We have to explicitly make it asynchronous. That is one point. Another problem with XML HTTP is, so it returns response in XML, HTML or text. It returns response in XML, HTML or text. If your request is for a text file, HTML file, XML file, it is good. But if your request is for a JSON file, then even JSON data is returned in text. Then what you need to present the JSON data as it is, you need to convert the text into JSON. So that means it requires explicit conversion methods. Explicit conversion methods to convert data into which format? JSON. You need external converting methods to convert data. So it is synchronous by default, it is not asynchronous, and it will send the response in a text form or a HTML form or XML. It will not send in the same format how it is. Then we have to convert. We need external conversions for that. Another important here is actually it is not good in error handling. It is not good in error handling. That means it cannot identify the errors easily and report those errors. It is not clear in errors. If any issue is there, it will tell that something went wrong. What is that something went wrong? Tell me clearly what went wrong. Is it file name wrong? Is it request wrong? Is response wrong? Where is the problem? We need clearly to understand. But it will simply say that something went wrong, it cannot work. What went wrong? I need a clarity on that. So for developers, finding and fixing the problems in Ajax is difficult when they are dealing with what? XML, HTTP. But it is the fastest and the native method in browser. Every technology in the world which is using Ajax have to finally use only one object. What is that object? XML. But directly using it is a lengthy process and so many risks is involved. So that is the reason majority people directly will not use it. But in some occasions we use it because we don't need other techniques. We can simply use this technique. How it works, let's see. That means how we can create an XML HTTP request, how we can get the data, and how we can send. There are so many steps here. So first point, what we have to do, how the request happens here. First, create a new XML HTTP request object. That is the first thing you have to do. So where HTTP is equal to new XML HTTP request. You have to create an XML HTTP request object. So this object name can be anything. You can give anything. I'm just roughly giving the object name as what? HTTP. That object name is your own name. You can give anything. Now this object will handle the Ajax calls. All the Ajax calls are handled by this object. So first you have to create an object. After creating object, configure the request by using open method. You have to configure request by using open method. By using open method, you have to configure the request. That means we have to use http dot what open. First, you have to mention method type and comma. You have to define the URL and comma. You have to define async. Async is Boolean. Boolean means you have to use true or false. This is how we have to mention the request. And what is method type? Method type can be get or what? Post. That means when to use get post you already know. Get is for fetching and post is for submitting. Another URL. URL is nothing but it is the API URL from where data is coming. That is the URL you have to define. Async. Async is nothing but it is Boolean, true or false. So by default async is false. Async is false. If you don't write async, by default async is false. That means by default it is which method? Synchronous. You have to explicitly make asynchronous. That means we have to set it to true, right? After that, after configuring the request, third step, you have to send the request. Send the request into process. How to send that? http.send. We have to send the request into process. First, we have to create an HTTP object. Through HTTP object open method, you have to configure the request and we have to send that request to process. After sending the request to process, we have to execute that in the process. That means in the next step, execute the request in the process, in process by using on ready state change event. By using on ready state change event, this event is used to execute the request. You configured the request, you sent the request, and you have to execute that request. This is all JavaScript. Unfortunately, if you don't learn this in JavaScript, it's a big mistake you have done, because these days there is no web application without Ajax. And this is pure JavaScript. I am not teaching any React point here. This is a JavaScript concept of Ajax. In JavaScript, you should learn all this actually. Right? I am just wasting one day for you to teach you Ajax again. Because we don't teach this, we directly use it. Because we think that people coming from JavaScript background, they already know this all. We don't need to explain all this. But sometimes you may miss this concept, then it is difficult. You can't manage in the React Angular like technologies. That's the reason I'm just giving one overview about it. So this generally our JavaScript people learn this. Already they know in JavaScript all these technique. So how do we execute the request? By using what? On ready state change. So what we have to do, http dot on ready state change is equal to function. This function will execute your request. Whatever your request you defined, that request is executed by using this function. And when this function executes, actually there will be four status. There will be four status. First status is initial. Second status is success. And third status is complete. And the fourth one is ready. That means this function will return four status. Initial status is nothing but I am preparing your request to execute. And second status is nothing but successfully executed. Third status is completed the request execution. Fourth status, response is ready. You can use it. That means on which state response is ready? Fourth state. So what we have to do is we have to verify. So get response on ready state. Get response on ready state. That means what we have to do is we have to write a condition. If http dot on ready state is equal to 4. On ready state is equal to 4. Actually, it is not on http ready state. Ready state is equal to 4. If ready state is equal to 4 means response is ready. Ready state can be how many? 4. One is initial. Still your request is not started. 2 is successfully request is executed. Third, completed. And fourth, ready. Response is ready. Now you can pull the response and use it. And how to get the response? So response is returned by using following techniques. What are those? http dot response text, http dot response HTML, and http dot response XML. Like this, it will return the response. Whatever response is returned, if it is directly what you are expecting, use it. But actually we are requesting from a JSON and response is text form, HTML form, XML form. So we need to convert the text into which format? JSON. So here if your data is in JSON format, then convert data by using JSON.parse method. In JavaScript, how to convert text into JSON? By using JSON.parse. By using this JSON.parse method, you can convert data into JSON. In JavaScript, text can be converted into JSON by using JSON.parse. JSON can be converted to text by using JSON string5 method. You have two methods in JavaScript. So this is enough now. Let's see how to handle this. All the phases understood now? Yes, you see now. Let's do this. We will go into our application. As of now, it is empty. There is nothing coming. There is data is empty. Let's go to our component in Flipkart mobile. Here, we need to make an Ajax request. While creating, you cannot do anything. So we will create one use effect. Use effect indicates mount phase. Use effect uses a function and this and dependencies. This is how we write the mount phase. Yesterday already we discussed that. And directly you can write inside it. But for reusability sake, what I will do, we will create one function. Function, I will say load product is a function. And this load product function should execute when component mounts. So here we will call which one? Load product. Okay, this will execute when it comes. Okay. Whenever component mounts, this function is going to execute. And this function have to get data from JSON file and use it. It should get data from any API. So how to create the request? Let's see now. What is the first step? We have to create an XML object. So where HTTP is equal to new XML HTTP request. We have to create an XML HTTP request object. What is the second step? We have to configure the request. How do we configure the request? HTTP.open. What is the method? Get. From where you need to get product.json, the file name. If it is coming from remote location, that means some online APIs and all, we can use that URL. I will show that example also. And see, last one is asynchronous. Na? Asynchronous, just put the word either true or false. We want what? True. Asynchronous true. Now we need to send this request. HTTP dot what? Send. After that we need to execute the request. HTTP dot on ready state change is equal to function. Okay. We need to verify is it ready or not. How to verify is it ready or not? If HTTP dot ready state is equal to how much? 4. That means if it is ready. If it is ready, get the response and show. Temporarily, I will put a response in console. Console log. We will put HTTP dot what? Response text. Response text. Let's see now. Let's go to right click, inspect and go to the console. You see the data is coming here. Data is coming in which format it is coming? Text format. It is not JSON. It is a plain text actually. Now we need to convert into JSON format. How do we convert the data into JSON format? So we have to use this text with what? JSON. JSON dot parse. And you see this is converted into JSON now. And when I refresh this, the data will be in JSON. This is perfect. That means it is having title, it is having other details, image, offers, all the data is perfectly there. This is in the JSON. Now it is in the JSON, you store in a local storage and you use it in your presentation. Let's present this now. Now whatever data is coming, we have to store it now to use it. So where to store this data? to store this data, whatever data is coming to store it, we will do one thing. We will create a state. What is that? Constant. We are expecting what? Product. And we have a setter. What is it? Set product is equal to use state. Now here, important is you can directly hard code the data what you are looking for. Exactly what is the data you are looking for, or just keep it. This product is expected as what? It is expected as object na, because we are expecting one object. So we are expecting an object, we are defining that object. Actually not necessary, but React 18 and 19 onwards, they made all the state strongly typed, understandable at compile time only. That's the reason it is recommended to mention exactly what type of data you have to deal with. So that compile time itself, it will show you problems if there is problem in reference, right? So what kind of data we are expecting? You see product JSON, an object is coming now. So we need to create a reference to store what object. If array is coming, you create a reference for array. Object is coming, create a reference for that object. Okay. Now what we will do is, whatever response data is coming, we converted into JSON, we will store that in the product. How to store that in the product? We have to use here. What is the method we have to use? Set product. Into set product, we will send the data. That means whatever text is there, convert into JSON and store in this product. Now the product is having all the data. Now we need to present this data. And as I told you that to present the data, you can hard code and you can clearly mention what data we are expecting, so that at compile time, you will not face any problems. So how do we do that? We can tell what we are expecting. Title. Title is which format? String. What else we are expecting? Price. Price is in which format? Number. You initialize the data so that it is easy and it will avoid dynamic errors. Dynamic errors means, you know, JavaScript is dynamically typed. That means at runtime only data types are known. But now at compile time itself, it knows the data type. What type of data is coming, what type of data it have to handle. So we have price. What else? We have what? Rating. Rating, we have rating. Yeah, rating is what type? Object. In the rating, we have rate. It is a number. We have ratings. That is also number. We have what? Reviews. Reviews is also a number. Next, we are having offers. Offers is what type? Array. Array of string. Yeah, just put an array, that is enough. Next, what? We are expecting another one. Image. Image is what type? String. This is the data we are expecting. Now we are sending the data. We are storing the data using XML, HTTP. Everything is ready. Now present the data here. We will present the data here. I will create a div, class row, margin top 4. In this, I will create a div, class as column. This is column 3. And obviously right side column will be, out of 12 we have to share, then it will be 9. Now in the left column, I want to display the product image. I need to display the product photo here. Then what we do? We have an IMG. IMG have an SRC. SRC coming from where? Product dot what? Image. And you can see that product image comes here. So the data is here. I will keep width. Width I will give as, width is a number. So that means width is how much? Actually directly you can type, or you type 100% like this. So, or you can use a simple string, that is how much 100%. And you can see that will be like this. This is the data we are having. Now, right side here, we need to display a div class name as heading 4, heading 4. Okay. And margin Y2. And here we want to display product dot what title. And you see the product title will come. We are bringing the data and displaying. And below the title, we need another div. In this, we will put a span class badge and BG success, text white. And here we want to display what is it rating, product dot rating dot rate. Because in product rating is an object, in that there is a key called rate and it is going to display that. And we want a star symbol beside it. Then we will use a span inside the rate itself. Here we put a span class, because we already enabled bootstrap icons, bi star fill. This is actually bootstrap icon. Beside it, we need another span class text secondary, and we will put as font weight bold. And here we want to display, so product dot rating dot what ratings. We will use the word ratings, and we need the reviews number also, product dot rating dot what reviews, and the word reviews, and you will see the word ratings and reviews. And already we learned string presentation. When we learned string presentation, you remembered this ratings, I can use 2 local string. Remember, na? Already I showed you how to put a currency format and all. 2 local string is going to display in this way. That means it uses 1,000 separator and it will display. That's enough. Okay. Next, below this, we have another div class as margin Y3. And here I will put a simple div. This I will give as div. Yeah. In this div, we will put price, product dot rating dot what is it price, and it will get the price there. Sorry, product dot price, directly product dot price. It will get the price and show. And we will make this class as font size 2. Font size 2 is large. Font weight as bold. Then it will be bold. And we will put as what 2 local string. 2 local string en hyphen what in. Indian will be there. You can have some currency symbol also. Right, we can display currency. Actually, you can directly put an simple HTML also. You know, in HTML, how you put currency symbol, ampersand hash 8377 semicolon. That is the code for Indian currency. In HTML, we put Indian currency symbol by using this entity. Or we can use a local string format with currency. We can display that in that format. This is HTML entity for symbol. So we define this. Next, what we need offers, na? Right. So below this, I will keep another div. In this div, we will keep a heading offers, available offers, and this is available offers. Heading 5. Okay. Below this, we need to display all the offers in a list. How to generate a list already we learned. We will use what? UL. In this UL, we need to collect all the array and display the array. So offers is an array na? Array of what type? String. How to read all the elements from the array? Product dot what is it? Offers. Offers is what type? Array. Array means we have to use map. Read every offer, and for every offer create a list item, and list item should have a key. Key is what? Offer, and the value I will put in a span. This value will be that offer. That means it is going to display all the offers like this. But we need these offers to display in a different way. So we will do one thing. Class as list unstyled. In Bootstrap, list unstyled means it will remove the numbering or bullet symbol. After that, every list item will have a class name called bi tag fill, margin y is 3, text as what? Success. Then it will display in this way. And we need one more. The color of the text should be gray, not symbol only should be green. Then the text is inside a span. For this we will use class as text secondary. Then it will be only that gray, only the color will be in green. That is how the Flipkart is presenting its data. How Flipkart presents the data is whatever data you see in Amazon, Flipkart, these all JSON only. All JSON. That means they don't directly hard code the design. What do you think? They put a photo directly? They directly write a price in the page? No. Everything dynamically comes. You see now, I am changing this here. This is 128 GB. I will go to my JSON. I will change this title as 256 GB and changed the price to 79,000. Ratings I change it to 4.5. Ratings as 15,000 ratings and 3,000 reviews. And here I will change this to iPhone what? Green. Then title also I will change from white to what? Green. And you can see the data changes, the image changes. Whenever data is updated, automatically it will reflect everywhere. Actually, data will not change in JSON. Data will change in your database. In database, they update the data in a table, then it reflects everywhere. So how we can interact with the data, get the data and display. This is the job of a web developer in the companies everywhere. Connecting with APIs, get the data, create a presentation, displaying. And even when you go to React interviews, what they do is they will say that we will give you one URL. In that URL, all the data is present. Use that data and create this presentation. They will give some screenshots. They will give you some screenshots and they will say that create this. The screenshots will be like a grid with filtering, sorting, searching like functionalities. You need to use their data and you need to create the user interface. Even for experienced people also, they give these kind of tasks. And remember, in majority interviews, once you are qualified in the first round, second round, final, when they conduct practical test, even for experienced people, they say that you go home, in 2 days you submit this task. They are so confident that when you go home, you can take help from several people now. They are still confident that even you take help, you cannot handle it. That is the reason even MNCs, what they do is they will send you simply email saying that do this task and submit us. That means, are they watching us? How I am doing, from where I am taking help? No. But still, by the submission of your work, they can understand that whether you done or you taken help. Because once they have a confidence that you can do this, then only you are eligible as a React developer or Angular or Java, anything. So you need to have a complete idea on how to communicate with the APIs. This is one technique. Here we used which one? XML HTTP request. XML HTTP request. By using that, we manage. Now all the presentation will be there same. This technique will change. In JavaScript, there is another technique. What is another technique? Instead of using XML HTTP request, you can use another technique. What is it? Fetch. You can use fetch. Let's see how. I will copy this first. So this example I will copy. First, what you have to do in public folder, you need to create a file, product.json. I will copy this to you. This is product.json. I will copy the data also for you. Okay, next, only this image you keep in your public folder. Second, we created, so in SRC, we created a component. In components, we created what? Flipkart mobile. Flipkart mobile. In that, we have a file Flipkart mobile dot what? JSX. In this JSX, I designed all this. Let me copy this. This is JSX. This is the code how to handle it. Now we will see another technique here. Instead of XML HTTP, you have another technique, that is JavaScript fetch. You have JavaScript fetch. This is called as fetch API. What are the problems in XML HTTP? XML HTTP is what? Synchronous. But what is advantage is actually fetch is a promise of JavaScript. In JavaScript, you learn promises and callbacks, na? Right? JavaScript have callbacks and promises. And fetch is a promise. What is advantage of promise is it is async by default. Async by default. So you don't need to make it async. Already it is what? Async. And it is good in error handling. Error handling. And it provides simplified techniques. Simplified approach. It provides simplified approach for Ajax request. It provides a simplified approach for Ajax, but still it is having problems. That is the reason React people, Angular people don't depend on this also. They use this in some occasions, but not every time, because still it is having some issues. What are the issues with fetch? We will see. First, we will see how fetch works. Then we will understand about this. That means when compared to XML HTTP, this is little better. How it is better? Syntactically, you learnt already JavaScript fetch, how it works. How it works? Fetch. We have to use what? URL. And because it is a promise, it uses which method? Then uses a callback function, which will get what? Response. Response is coming from that particular URL. And this response initially returned in binary form. That means response is in binary form. Binary format. Binary. So what we have to do is we have to collect what? Data. That means what we have to do is response is in binary, convert response into which format? JSON. After that, collect the JSON data and use the JSON data here. We have a catch. Catch uses a function and it will catch the error. If any error is there, it will catch. And we have a finally. Finally uses a function that execute always, na? So you know that promises will have three important options: then, catch, and final. Then executes when request is success, catch execute when request is failed, and finally executes always. This is fetch. This is little better and simplified and faster when compared to XML. But remember, internally fetch also uses XML object only. That means in a browser, Ajax is made by using XML HTTP. As a developer, you are using it, but internally it will translate it again into which object? XML HTTP. But for developer, it is convenient now. It is more simplified instead of writing lengthy. You see now what we will do? Same thing, I will remove this here. Means in the load product, I am removing XML HTTP. So obviously data is empty. There is no data. We are not having any data. Okay, let's use the fetch method. How to use it? Fetch URL. Data is coming from which location? Product.json. Dot what? Then uses a callback function. I will just use this function with a response and return that response as in the format of JSON. It will get the response, return it in JSON because response is primarily in binary form. After that, we have to use another, then it will get the product. And this product related data, we need to set into set product. Na? Set product, send the product data. That's it. This is more simplified than XML HTTP. So we are fetching the data and we are converting the data into JSON and we are storing the data in state. That's it. So this is more simplified when compared to XML HTTP. In XML HTTP, configure the request, send the request, execute the request, check the status is 4 or not, get the data, convert the data. But here in simple and it is working fine. That means this time we are using which method? Fetch. In JavaScript, these are two techniques usually you learn in already JavaScript. Here we are using the same techniques because React people can use JavaScript techniques according to requirement. In certain occasion they need fetch, you can use fetch. You need this XML, you can use it. What is issue in fetch? What is the issue in fetch is? The issue in fetch is it returns data in which format? Binary format. So explicit conversion is required. Explicit conversion is required. You need to convert the data again. And actually it have coarse issues. It have coarse issues. It have security issues. Security like cross-site request forgery. Cross-site request forgery. Cross-site excesses, that is nothing but, it is nothing but we call as cross-site scripting attacks. These are the problems that you face in web applications. What are those? I will tell you. We will discuss about them. These are major security issues. Security issues, we have cross-origin resource sharing, cross-site request forgeries, and cross-site scripting attacks. So these are the major issues that you face related to fetch. That is the reason in real time, while working with very complex and very high level secured private data, this fetch becomes a failure. Why? Because fetch don't have good security. Then what React people do is, React people use a third-party library. By using third-party library, we can communicate with API, get the data from API, and have more security when compared to fetch and XML. And there are so many third-party APIs. One popular third-party is Axios. Axios is a third-party library used by React applications for connecting with API. Instead of using fetch, instead of using XML HTTP, you can use a third party called Axios. So in React, we prefer these kind of third parties because JavaScript is okay. In some occasions, it is good. JavaScript techniques are okay. In some occasions, they are good. But in high level applications, security issues will come. To overcome that, we need this kind of techniques. What are those Axios like techniques? Now, what is the speciality of this Axios and how this Axios works? That we will see. So there is another one. You can also use jQuery as X. You can use jQuery as X. We can use Axios like third parties. We can use different. So that we will see in the next session. How to handle the third parties. We will use in the next. Today you have to try these two. One is with fetch, another is with XMLH. So I will copy this fetch example also. Data is same, only this logic changed. Am I right? Only this logic changed. This is the Flipkart mobile. This is only the logic changed. Okay. I will upload all these notes and previous videos into a Google Classroom. For online people, Google Classroom code will be sent by online admin. For offline people, I will share a classroom code. You join that classroom code and there you will get all the notes from today onwards. Previous notes and videos also I will upload there. You can go through them. Okay. From today onwards, our class notes will be in a separate Google Classroom. You join this Google Classroom. Online people, our admin will send the class code to online people. You contact our admin, he will send. Offline people, you note down this. And tomorrow we will continue, okay? Yeah, offline people, you join and don't join with duplicate multiple email IDs. Use your registered only one ID because our admin see duplicate IDs, he will delete both of them. Then you cannot join with the original ID also, right? You join with only your ID. Don't use multiple duplicate. This is the code. It is, as of now, it is empty. We will share this. We will share all the notes and everything here. I will just, after the class, I will share everything here. From today onwards, all your class notes will be here. Able to join? Right. Okay, then we will continue in tomorrow's session. Try these two examples. In tomorrow's session, we will continue. Okay. Okay, then. Thank you.